Our last but not the least speaker in this session is Aga Szostek. Aga is an experienced designer with over 16 years of practice in user-centered design across Europe, Netherlands, Switzerland, Belgium, Sweden, Estonia, and Poland. Her clients say that if you need someone who is not afraid to ask hard questions, she is the person to go to. Aga is also a passionate lecturer, coach, trainer, and public speaker regarding design thinking methodology and experience design approach. Ladies and gentlemen, Aga Szostek, co-founder at UXPlus.
Hi, hello. Unfortunately, I cannot promise you that I will speak Romanian, but I'll try to speak proper English. I would like to start with a story. If I can get my slides, it would be really awesome. Yeah? Okay. You know, we are going to suffer through the PDF sort of issue here, like, Apple is to be blamed for it because we both designed our presentation in Keynote and therefore you transform it into a PDF and then you are in trouble. So beware if you ever stand here. I would like to start with a story and take you to the year 2013. I was basically invited in 2011. I was invited by one of Polish telecoms, which is called Play. It's a local telecom, which was a contender, sort of a disruptor of the Polish telecom market. And they invited me over to come and teach them how to apply design thinking in their daily work. So basically, I was invited to the marketing department, and they said, "Okay, we like what you are doing, so please help us start doing this stuff at Play." So in 2013, the product market team came to me with this project with this secretive name called Clinton. And I never knew which one of them was the reason for it. And they said, hey, we have this idea which is going to yet again revolutionize the telecom market in Poland. We have this idea that it would be so awesome to actually create a new offer, and not the offer that's aiming at individuals, but it's an offer that aims at families. So basically, they came up with this idea, and they came to us. I'll tell who us are in a moment, and they showed like this. So that was the idea. So what I would like to talk to you about today is what's the difference between the market and design research. Like I said, like I was introduced, I've already worked with quite a big number of companies all across the world, helping them to start thinking in a customer-centric way. I am a designer myself, so I don't stop in helping companies. I also create my own tools and things that help other designers to work on the design thinking process. So if you want to talk to me about it, I will be happy to. I have some, so I can show you how it looks like. But coming back to this one, so if you were a customer and I came to you with this table, would you like this offer? What do you think? Like, is it something you would be like thinking like, yeah, I'm going for it? Yeah? No. What would you think? What would be your reaction? Boring, okay? Yeah, but the table is boring. How about the offer? You don't know what it is. Do you agree that, like for a lame person, having this kind of representation is like, huh? What the heck is that? So actually, that was basically the reply of our market research department. They said, this is untestable. We are not going to take it to the customers because these guys are not going to understand what the heck we are talking about. Why I'm talking about market research? Market research has an amazing power and also an amazing role in organizations. They actually try and help the businesses to understand what the world is all about, how it looks like. But they have also a number of limitations because they are not focused on looking at how the world is changing, but they are trying to define the world as it is right now. So basically, they are not looking for questions, they are looking for answers. They are looking for something that's repeatable, that's testable, that no one is going to question when they come with the table with a result and say, okay, this is, 10 customers, like, what the heck are you talking about? This is not something that you can really say that it's applicable to the rest of the world. So basically, their main focus, which is both good and bad, is on really trying to capture the world as it is. So what they are good at? They are good at looking at the situation, measuring it, and saying, okay, this is how the world looks like. This is an event that Play co-sponsors in Poland. It's called Woodstock Festival. So basically, this is a festival, like 3,000 people coming there, big party, crazy party. And a number of brands come there and they set up their spaces and they promote their brand there. So what market research is absolutely amazing at, they go to this kind of event and they say, okay, who else was there, what they were doing, what we were doing, what worked, what didn't work. So how we can improve for the next year. But when it comes to this table, that's a little bit more tricky than doing this. On the other hand, you have design research, and Mike and everybody is talking about empathy, listening to the customers, trying to understand their needs. But actually, this is a perspective on it rather than really looking for the answers. So like when you have a design researcher in your team, this person is looking for more questions. This is what's truly important. I don't want to be satisfied with the fact that I know. I want to understand what I don't know, because that's where the design space is actually happening. So basically, by the fact that this is more a search for questions than answers, basically you are trying to do this much more informal, much more repetitive, much more smaller samples, because if you want to have 1,000 people tested and then you want to change your test and then test again, like you will die of testing and you will probably give up before you actually go on. So basically, when you do these kind of things, you can actually do experiments like this. And I would like to talk to you about this project a little bit more. This is a project. So basically, the prepaid department of Play came to us, to our team, and said, we would like to create an offer for kids. So like the telecom market is basically 100% saturated. Everybody of us has a phone or 2 phones. So basically, where do you look for new clients? Kids are a good space to actually expand. So they said, okay, there were 2 attempts in Poland to create an offer for kids. One was made by Play with cars, the little toys, which was a complete failure. The magazines are full of the warehouses are full of the toys. And the other was made by Orange. And it was somehow successful. So basically what Orange did, they created a cover on your phone with Hello Kitty picture. And it was successful, but not necessarily with the group that it was dedicated to, because it wasn't successful with kids. It was very successful with young women aged 18-25. So, yeah, it was a good shot, although maybe not the one that Orange was aiming at. So the team came and they said, Aga and the team, please help us create an offer that's really aiming for the kids. I said, okay, so let's discuss the age of those kids. And they said, 0-18. And I said, there is this great child psychologist, he's passed away, Piaget. Please, I refer you to the book, read the book. So they said, so you're saying to us that it's impossible to make this offer. I said, of course it's impossible. So please do choose an age that you would like to focus on. So, like they were really negotiating hard, and in the end they said 6 to 12. So I said, there's this great psychologist called Piaget, please go and read the book. So they said, okay, we are not going to settle for any narrower age span there. So I said, okay, fine. I was thinking what I can do with this issue, because obviously it's impossible to design an offer for kids of that age span. So what we did, we created a workshop. We ran small workshops. It was really 8 kids per age group with kids and their parents. And basically we took the kids from age 6 to 8, and then from 8 to 11. It was exactly like that. And we basically asked those kids to tell us about their phones, how they think of having a mobile phone, what is important there, how they would like it to look like, what it should be like, and all these kind of things that are important for the kids and also for the parents. So we actually had this perspective of the kids wanting, unlimited internet, obviously for gaming, and the parents saying like, no way unlimited internet, because otherwise we are going to never get the school work done and stuff like that. So we gathered this information, and it was clearly obvious that there's no way we can deliver an offer for kids age 6 to 12. So finally, but there was one signal that was very clear coming from all the parents. In Poland we are Catholic. I don't know how it is in Romania, but in Poland at the age of 8, all the kids go to the church to have the first communion. And apparently that's the moment that they get their first smartphone. So basically this is the gift. So you don't only know which exact age the kids get the gift, the phone on, you know the exact date or a month. So it's like a perfect timing for bringing the offer onto the market. But we wanted, and we knew another thing. The parents told us that it is about the phone, but it's also about how this phone is being packed. So this is not about having the parents buy the phone, but they want to have it beautifully packed so the kids discover the phone by unpacking experience. And what the kids told us that they want to have a smartphone, iPhone, HTC. They were really smart about the brands and what sort of model they wanted. I was listening to them saying, like, my gosh, they know more than me on all those models of phones. But basically, what they told us is that they want to personalize that phone. So we knew that there was something to do with, like, we could play something with the personalization of the phone. So what we started with, and this doesn't sound like a research process, but it was a research process that combines the design elements into it. What we did, we invited young designers, a bunch of 12. We divided them in pairs and said, like, okay, you have 8 hours, and you have to deliver to us at least 3 concepts for a box for an unpacking experience per team. So basically, they were creating, drawing, making small prototypes, and 8 hours later, we had 20-something prototypes. They were not really beautiful, but they were really making the point. So from all those points, we had an internal discussion in the team, and we selected, you can see some of the examples here, and we started selecting which ideas should go to the tests. And it was a very interesting discussion there, because we were sitting, the 6 of us in the team, and only 1 of us had children at the right age. So basically, what the heck did we know about our customers? Not much, as it was proven to us later on. So basically, we selected 6 concepts that are going to get tested in the study with the parents and the kids. And we were all betting that this school thing, I have no clue how it's called in English, but the one that you have your pencils in and the pens and stuff, and then you would have the space for your phone there, and this will be a killer. Little we knew about children. And basically, these were the other ideas. This one was a box that you can open and then create a sort of a sorting thing for your desk at home, so you can put your pencils there and your phone as well, and then you have a hole for the charger and things like that. This one was, it's called the Book of Treasures. So basically, this is a book which you open, you get all the instruction how to put the phone together, and then you take the inside, and then you have a box for your treasures. This one was from the fabric, so you basically have your phone there, but when you open it, you can hang it as a sort of shelf over your desk. I'll start with the violet one. That was, we called it a toolbox. There's also an interesting story there. And this one, that was something that was our black horse. It's called a magic box. So basically the thing is that you pull the cover, then you put your hand in it, and it's like a bag there. So you have to search for things. So basically here, we've got concerns of the parent that we had in our team. Oh my gosh, what happens if they put razor blades there? I was just like, yeah, why would you even think that? But because she was a parent, we thought, okay, this might be actually a quite reasonable concern, but let's test it. So we did this, but of course that was the physical part to it. But we also wanted to test the offer, and we wanted to understand not only what should go into the offer, into the virtual parts, so like minutes, SMSs, internet, and so on. But we also wanted to understand how the decision is being taken. So who decides on what? Whether the parents are deciding on things or the children are deciding on things. So what we did, we basically created cards which were describing the different options that the parents and the kids could choose. So basically they could choose so much internet, so many minutes, so many SMSs. We put the phones there with different price tags, and we were saying, okay, so which phone would you choose for this offer? We've got the boxes, as you can see, and then we also had this huge box with gadgets. So I had a blast because I was the one to be shopping for the gadgets, and I was picking all the sticks for it, and and anything that you can use to make the phone look personalized. So we had this huge box for it. So what we did, and we actually combined the market and the design research at this stage. We knew that the organization, the company, is not going to believe us if we tested on 10 people. So we created a study where we were for 3 full days in 3 rooms testing this on 100 pairs, child and a parent. So we would get this mom and her daughter or son, mainly moms, few fathers. And they would come, we would have a short interview with them. They would go through this huge table that was sort of big as the stage, and they would be picking and discussing together how this offer should be constructed. And then whenever they made the decision, they would go to the board and they would stick these things to the board. And then, so we could really see, who was deciding on what. So the parents would look at the price and say oh geez, if I pay so much for it, I am not going to be able to afford it. So we would hear also all the concerns about the price. And then there was this magic moment for the kids. So the parents were still calculating how much it's gonna be. And then we would pull the blanket that was covering the gadgets and the boxes, and the kids would go and they would go and then just digging through the gadgets and choosing the ones that they like. They could choose 2. And they would also go and choose the box. And we always allow them to choose make the first choice and the second choice. So guess how many kids chose this school thing that I said that we thought was gonna be a blast? None, 0. No, it wasn't that bad. But it was actually, I think that it was even worse because there were only 3. So basically that was no one wanted that, and the parents explained to us that come on, they already have it, why would they want it? The hit, the absolute hit was the magic box with digging, obviously. So I was really happy that we pushed it through. The second choice was the toolbox. And we always thought of it as a toolbox, but actually it was more often chosen by girls than boys. And we were wondering, why? And the girls told us, hey, this is a perfect bed for our ponies. So imagine that. So basically, from this, we got enough data to actually go to the management board and made a convincing case to tell them, okay, this is something we should go for. And to be entirely honest, everything that I'll show you in a moment, it took us 2 years to get this offer on the market because the company was so afraid to do something that was so out of the ordinary for them that it was, we were doing the iteration over and over again to build the case to actually make them convinced that this is a good idea. So what we did next, we designed the different visualizations for how those boxes could look like, and we were testing again with the different ages of what was something that will kind of catch the attention of the kids and also be acceptable for the parents. And then in the end, we tested this all. We tested all the ideas, and imagine we didn't get it on this first communion date. Actually, and it was crazy because, like, you know, December is the craziest month for the telecom companies, because apparently people are buying their products at that stage. So basically our management decided, okay, if we have really such a good concept, let's put it there on for Christmas. And one thing that was a big lesson for me from all this entire process was that our box was and is not a magic box. It's actually a McDonald's box. Why? And, you know, like, honestly, I think that that was a stage that both me and Martin, we were collaborating for all those years together. We were ready to quit when we heard that this is going to happen. Why it happened and why we didn't quit? It turned out that the cost of the magic box was 25 times more expensive than doing this thing. So if you don't know what are the odds of actually having this being accepted in the market, no one is willing to actually give it a try for the first time. And the second thing was, which was much more important, and this comes to the discussion of what Oscar and Mike were talking about, we didn't consider logistics. We didn't realize that those big magic boxes are big. And basically there is, first of all, no space for them in the warehouse. And second of all, which was much more important, there's very little space for them in the storage rooms in the branches of the provider. So in the end, we had to come up with something that's easily foldable. And that was a bummer, I must say. I'm still hoping that maybe they go and do it like this in some other iteration. However, the offer itself, for the only fact that it was a box and it was nicely designed, and you can see the next iteration of it, was extremely successful. So actually, we could see that by the fact that the box was big, it was visible, and it was drawing the attention because it was fun for kids, and they really liked it. They really wanted to buy the phone from Play and not from all the other providers. You know, with all of this, we were not afraid to actually keep on testing and changing things and seeing how they look like. But we also always combined it with the rather big data collection that market research was helping us with in order to create momentum and to have convincing arguments for the organization. So coming back to the Clinton project and to this offer. So the market research department told the marketing department, like, we are not going to test it. Go to those, you know, design guys, and maybe they can come up with something to make it testable. So what we did, it was a family offer. So we created physical prompts that help people understand how they manage their telecom contracts in their home. So basically, what they were doing, they were putting the home there, they were putting all the family members to the board, and they were really telling us what sort of offers they have and how they are dealing with those offers. And then, once we understood what the concept of the family for them was, we created a visual calculator. So basically, we created this kind of thing that helped them to push the number of people in the family and then see how many cards they want, how many different things they want. And through that, there was 98% of understanding of what this offer was all about. However, and this is the very, very last point that I want to make before summarizing, even though we did this, and that's why it's important to do iterations that was discussed before, we came up with the offer and we were testing this with the families, you know, young families, young children, first phones, and so on. And only in the very last stage, we've decided, hey, how about the older families, like families that have children that already grew up, like how is it going there? So we invited we created one workshop around the older families, and we got questions that fortunately we got at that stage. Because their first question was, what happens if we get a divorce? Yes. And then we realized that we designed this offer to include people but not to get them out. And so you know, that's why this iteration is so important. Why is it so? Because imagine that, in fact, what we are trying to do is that there is this today's world that we are living in. And there's the tomorrow's world, something that we are designing for. Design is never about today. Design is always about the future. And if you think, you could say, okay, market research is really about today's world. The design research is about tomorrow's world. But in fact, when you really think about design space, this is something that's in the middle. It's not something that's only in the future or only in the present. It's crossing. It's like this bridge between the two worlds. So what I believe in, and I you know, with all the experience that I've got working with market research departments in very different companies, I truly believe that in order to design a meaningful experience that's convincing for the businesses that you are working in, you need to combine the efforts. So you have to bring the market research and the design research to work together, to combine their strengths and their capabilities and abilities to create the design space that's actually acceptable by the business you are working for. Thank you very much. Any questions? The orange guys, I cannot talk more details. Yeah? Sorry, which one? The Clinton project? Or the junior box?
The junior box.
The junior box. So actually it was, in the first iteration, we would get, I have to remember the numbers now. So the increase in sales for the desired user group, at that stage, it was Christmas. It was 20%. In the next iterations, especially with the Madagascar line, it was around 35%. So that was really, like, of course, like we have 4 mobile providers in the market. So there's always a split because families often they want to have the kids in their own plan. So they don't have to manage multiple invoices. But it was actually surprising to see how many customers of other providers were coming to buy this particular offer at Play. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah. So actually, there is a lot of research showing that if you actually get people like your brand or love your brand early on their life, they are much more likely to be loyal towards your brand. Actually, Google does it. Look at what Google does. Google offers all their systems to the universities for free. Why do they do that? Because they want to hook the students to use it, so then when they go into their professional lives, they want to keep on using it. So that was sort of the same philosophy, although I must say that the loyalty towards a telecom provider is much less than towards Google products.
Let me stand up. So what do you do to get on board or the buy-in from your customers? And I'm not talking here about the end users. I'm talking about, in this case,
internal customers.
Yes, exactly, the corporate.
Yeah, so actually that's a whole big different story. I spent 5 years at Play trying to teach them and convince them that this is a very interesting new way of thinking. And to be entirely honest, one thing that was working perfectly for us was that we've got one ambassador who was a marketing director, Michał, who I think that he was just bored with his work and he wanted to do something else, and we were something else. So basically he got really keen to try this stuff on. But believe me or not, for the first year of working at Play, we never got a single project to finish. We were allowed to do user research, we were allowed to bring some new insights, to inspire, but we were not allowed to actually go through the whole process to actually show a new product. The first product that we got is a corpse from a wardrobe. It was a product that was destined to be killed, And they said, okay, if you're so smart, revive it. And we did. And it was the first success that we managed to actually get the company on understanding, hey, maybe there is something in it. But for another year, what we were doing, especially Martin, my colleague, he would be literally eavesdropping in the kitchens, listening into what sort of projects people were talking to. He would come to me, we would discuss where we can add value, and we would go and beg those people to actually let us do the project with them. So 2 years of relentless begging. And then there was a switch, and suddenly we had more projects that we were able to do. Any more questions? Okay, thank you so very much.